Fellas, if a woman you're dating or married to ever says this to you, send her back to the streets immediately, because she's going to get you and your family killed.
You said you'd prefer a guy who does self-defense using other methods. Are we talking like with his fist?
Oh, not like that. I just mean like, I think a gun is a bit extreme. Like if like, because most people would argue like for a legally obtained firearm in like a circumstance of self-defense. Like if someone breaks into your home, like most people would argue for that. I'm just saying like, I personally would prefer a different, I don't know. Like,
Let's say you find a great guy.
This great guy, I'm like, where is he?
He's coming. You find a great guy. He wants to marry you.
Okay.
You guys get married. Would you prefer he defends you against home invaders with a gun or with his fists?
It would depend on what the home invader has in his hand.
You can't decide that.
Yeah.
Like that is not up to you.
You never know.
Or if there's more than one. If there's more than one.
There's 5 home invaders. All of them don't have weapons. They're ready to throw down with their fists against your husband. Would you prefer he has his hands or a gun?
Hands.
You don't want. He's
I
gonna
don't
get
want
the
them
shit,
dying
he's
if
gonna
they're
get the
just coming
shit
into
kicked
my
out of him.
house.
What if after they kill him they want to you? Wouldn't you want him to have a gun in that instance?
Whoa, I didn't think they were gonna kill him.
Well, I mean, they're home invaders. If he's gonna
That
fight them,
doesn't. Just because you invade someone's home doesn't mean you're gonna kill him.
So let me get this straight. Someone breaking into someone's home is not extreme. But someone using a gun in self-defense against 5 people who broke into your home to beat you to death, that is extreme. The unmitigated goal of someone who expects you to put your life on the line to protect their life, telling you you can't use a gun to do it. Imagine Joe Biden telling his Secret Service detail they can only use double-barrel shotguns to protect him.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun.
They'd laugh at him and then hand him a sippy cup and some of Nancy Pelosi's ice cream and tell him to F off. And that's the President of the United States of America. Tell me you've lived an insanely privileged life without telling me you've lived an insanely privileged life. That's the only thing that I can possibly think of that can explain this level of bleeding heart sympathetic insanity. What's even more messed up is when she said this.
there's 5 home invaders. All of them don't have weapons. They're ready to throw down with their fists against your husband. Would you prefer he has his hands or a gun?
Hands.
You don't want. He's
I
gonna
don't
get
want
the
them
shit,
dying
he's
if
gonna
they're
get the
just
shit
coming into
kicked
my
out of him.
house.
Once again, I'm telling you fellas, run as far and away from a woman like this as fast and as far as you can, because she is so ideologically driven by her hatred of firearms that she will be more worried about the lives of the 5 guys coming to beat you to death than she is about your life. Like, I want you to really understand what she's saying here. She's saying that she wants to fight for your life between criminals that just broke into your house to be a fair fight. Actually, that's not even a fair fight. It's 5 versus 1. And she's saying this.
I don't want them dying if they're just coming into my house.
She would have more compassion for the criminals breaking into her home than she would her own husband. This is a sickness. Something is wrong with her. She's acting like we're talking about 5 Jehovah's Witnesses coming to fellowship with her. We're talking about criminals breaking into your home, and you're talking about what they have in their hands. You can tell she has never experienced any type of violence in her life because she doesn't understand the damage that can be done with hands and feet. In 2019, 600 people died from hands, fists, and feet. That's over 2 times the number of people who were killed with a rifle or shotgun. The crazy thing is, she says she prefers a different method versus a gun. Like what? A bat or a knife? You want to talk about a brutal way of killing someone that's also incredibly ineffective and inefficient when it comes to self-defense? Have you seen someone getting beat to death by a bat or stabbed to death by a knife? If you don't have the stomach to shoot someone, you definitely do not have it in you to beat or stab someone with a bat or knife, because I promise you, those 2 ways are way more vicious. But who are we fooling? She's so privileged and naive, the thought of her actually defending her life never even crosses her mind. In her mind, if she ever needs protection, her crash test dummy of a husband or boyfriend would throw his life away because she's too morally superior to let him use a gun to protect her life. The thing that's most disturbing about this is that there are a lot of people who think like her. Just look at some of the comments in the comment section. I agree with the blonde about the home invasion question. If you own a gun, it's more likely a family member will become a victim of homicide or commit suicide than there to be a home invasion. As someone who had a family member, a teenager, kill themselves with a legally obtained gun that was safely secure in a lockbox, I would prefer a husband without a gun in my house with my child. There are many other weapons and forms of security. I have a security system, and I feel much safer with that in door locks than guns in my household. I'm sorry, but you kind of have to laugh at this naivete in order to not go crazy. Because the idea that you think an alarm system and a lock on your door is going to keep you safe is pure insanity. It's insane. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call hoplophobia, or the fear of firearms. And yes, this is a real thing. Psych Times defines hoplophobia as the irrational fear of firearms. Someone experiencing this mental disorder may endure very intense bouts of anxiety as a result of their fear. Their fear of guns may influence their opinions on society as well. For instance, people with this condition may blame guns as being the reason for why people commit murders and other atrocities, as opposed to blaming the psychological health of the individual. What this all boils down to is that some people will always see themselves as potential victims and capable of protecting themselves. So where you see your gun ownership as a way to protect yourself, they see your gun as a potential way to harm them. So they want you to be as weak as they are in order to make them feel better about their safety. And they do this by voting for policies and laws that make everyone equally weak, only to realize they are now in more danger because policies and laws only work on people who are willing to obey them. And now those people who don't obey laws, criminals, are now the only people with the guns. Speaking of only people, make sure you're not the only person who's not part of my YouTube membership. YouTube membership is a great way for people to continue supporting what we do here on the channel for the Second Amendment. And it has 3 groups. You have the People Life, you have the militia, and you also have the amosexuals. Each of those groups have their own specific perks and benefits. And also, I personally, on my own, outside of that, will be doing giveaways that are exclusive to my members in those groups. So if you're interested in learning more, I'll put a link in the description section of this video. And speaking of amosexuals, make sure you head over to shop.mrcolionnoir.com and get your amosexual merch today. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.